11 serving 15.
Fully charged yet? Rocket power fluid. Rocket power fluid. Fully charged.
11 serving 15. 11 serving 16. 11 serving 17. 11 serving 18. 'Servers change. 18 will serve to 12. 18 serving 12. 19 serving 12. 19 serving 13. 20 serving 13. 20 serving 14. Game goes to Kim Holder at 21-14. Up next we have Escaping Holder and Keita Blunt. Players to court. Let's go, ladies. Love serving love. Love serving 1. Love serving 2. Love serving 3. One serving 3.
Here you go, bar here, ballers.
1 serving 3. Servers change. 4 serving 1. 4 serving 1. 5 serving 1. 5 serving 2. 6 serving 2. 7 serving 2. 7 serving 2. Servers change. 2 serving 8. 3, serving it. 3, serving it. 3, serving, 4, serving it. 5, serving it.
Want to show me for a real curveball here today?
5, serving it. 6, serving it. 6, serving it. Server change, 9, serving 6. 9, serving 6.
What happened, Renee? You didn't get the monitor for you?
It came on. How it come back off?
It wasn't on though. It came on, but it wasn't getting any signal.
What?
No, it doesn't.
I asked you if you plug in the HDMI to you.
Oh,
9, serving 6.
oh, sorry, I didn't hear you.
10, serving 6. 11, serving 6. 12, serving 6. 12, serving 6. 12, serving 7. 'Servers change. 7, serving 13. 7, serving 13. 8, serving 13. 8, serving 13. 8, serving 14. 8, serving 14. 9, serving 14. 10, serving 14. 'Servers change. 14, serving 11.
Sugar.
14, serving 11.
Never key?
15, serving 11. 16, serving 11. 17, 16 serving 11. 17 serving 11. 17-11. 18 serving 11. 18 serving 11. Server exchange, 11 will serve to 19. 11 serving 19.
I got a little patience for foolishness.
12 serving 19.
Got you.
12 serving 20. That goes to Kim Holder at 12. That goes to Kim Holder at 21-12.
Over here.
5 minutes.
They warm up all there. Come on, Peter. Yeah. All about the warm way.
You good, Don?
I'm gonna be a trouble here.
Let me see if I can call. I might want to bring on that bread. Well,
You're right. No problem.
Man over here.
Alright, so this is Kezia versus Estefine.
Hey. Good ball.
And for those who are Kim won 21, 14, 12, 14, 12, 12, 14, 21, 12. Yeah. Jack's ready? No problem. Good night, everyone, and welcome to the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. We're into the business end of the competition, the round of 16. We're here in beautiful Bush Hall, St. Michael, at the Dighton Power Roach facility. On screen at the moment, you're seeing the warm-up for what is the second women's game tonight, which will be between Estefine Holder and Kezia Blunt. But before we get to that game, we have what was a very fantastic game and maybe a predictable type of result for that first one in that match, which is Kim Holder versus Crystal Herwood. My name is Joel Manning. Alongside of me is John Wick Chandler and Kelvin Bruce Willis Scott. Two gentlemen that I know everything about road tennis here in Barbados and in fact across the world. I'm going to start with you on my right, John. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I am good. I'm very good indeed. Joanna, what about you?
I'm a little warm. You know, things are not necessarily breezy at the moment here in Bush Hall, but a fantastic night for road tennis nonetheless. Very quickly, I know that our viewers had a chance to take in that first game. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, the first game we saw Kim Holder, not really the kind of holder that would not be very, very explosive, but she kind of controlled her game, paced her game really well, and I think she should be happy with her performance this evening, and she really didn't have to press on the pedal too heavy this evening, but she gave what was enough to get home.
Kelvin, we'll come across to you now. It's really been a fantastic competition thus far. What are your thoughts on how things have developed over into this round of 16 now?
Well, some of the games were quite predictable, knowing some of the stronger players, but we are in the money-making round, as you call it, the business round. I like that expression. And from here onward, it's going to get a bit tricky. But it was smooth sailing into the round of 16, and from tonight onward, the matches will be a bit more unpredictable. You will see the cream coming to the top, as the expression goes, from tonight.
Well, you've had a chance, I know, to see Kim Holder over the years. She's definitely a household name in Barbados when it comes to women's road tennis. What do you think that she's been so dominant over the years?
Kim has been training extremely hard, and what works for Kim is that even though Kim is a female, Kim has been training regularly and consistently with the men, and that has given her the extra edge over the years.
Well, gentlemen, let's look towards this game. Now, I guess you can call it a mix of youth and experience on display at the moment. The young Kezia Blunt, who has definitely been making her name as it relates to the junior scenes of road tennis here in Barbados, junior road tennis champion, and looking to make her mark here on the Barbados Road Tennis Open. John, what do you think her chances are here tonight, and what are you hoping to see from her?
Well, she's a very talented junior, as you said, and she's been in this kind of arena before. As a junior, she's been in a crowd environment, so I don't think that she'd be ruffled by the crowd here this evening. She's a very steady player. She has the ability to control her forearm really well. She's up against a very experienced player in Estefine Holder, and Estefine also keeps the ball on the court. But if you were to give the edge to the two players here, I think that the young Kezia has that little edge in terms of her attack. And I think that the attack might make a difference between the two players here this evening.
Well, before we get started very quickly, Kelvin, your thoughts on tonight's matchup, Kezia versus Estefine?
Well, similar to John's prediction and analysis, this can go either way, but with Estefine and the years of experience that she has, this can be a very tricky and balanced matchup.
Oh, well, gentlemen, dead ball and the ball in the hand of Kezia Blunt to get things started tonight. I'm going to turn the commentary over to you guys.
Okay, thanks a lot, my brother. So as mentioned before, we are in the round of 16, and wearing the blue shirt and black pants is the experienced Estefine Holder, and wearing the white shirt representing the Road Tennis Elite Academy is young Kezia Blunt. And the score now is 2-3.
A good start here this evening by young Blunt. I'm quite sure that she'll be happy winning her serve pretty much 3 points, 3 out of 5, which was really a good start on her part. I even scored 3 apiece at this stage, but like you said, Kelvin, we have an Estefine who's very experienced, and you can really look for a mixture of play here from Estefine.
Definitely, Estefine is going to mix up the serves for sure. We recognize 2 went to the back arm. Let's see what she continues to do in terms of her serves. And that's what most experienced players would do. They would try to gather most of their points from their serves. And now it's 3-5.
That was a very good bounce serve there. Good return by Blunt, forcing her opponent into error.
And it's very interesting to see how the young Kezia Blunt seems so relaxed, John. not a bother in this world, as though she has somehow won the set already. And that's the composure that is admirable in the young ones playing this sport. They seem so confident and so strong about their game.
Well, Kezia Blunt, the student of Princess Springer School. She's only 13 years old, and she really has a very bright future ahead in road tennis. At a very young age, she's among those top 8 players already in Barbados.
Very good shot. 8 now serving to 5, and young Blunt showing tremendous composure. Nice passing shot to the form of Holder, though.
Yes, good opportunity there, and as we said a bit earlier, she has the ability to attack, and on that occasion she had a favorable bounce and executed brilliantly.
Yes, and some nice intelligent serves as well.
A very good crowd already here at Bush Hall, taking in all the action. We're well over 100 plus spectators already. It's really good to see the kind of support that road tennis continues to get as we move from community to community. The score now is 7 now will serve to 10.
And somehow, John, Estefine has lost 4 balls from her forearm coming center court, something she would definitely need to adjust in the second game if she's to keep close to the young Blunt. 9 now serving to 10.
Well, I'm quite sure that Estefine Holder would feel good with that comeback. Service change at 6 serving to 9. We have an even score at 10 all. And Estefine taking 4 out of her 5 serves. Well done there by Estefine. As we take a bit of a towel break. It's very hot, just about 29 degrees here already in Barbados. It's the evening, but we are feeling the heat wherever we are.
Definitely, and it's so good to be joined by young Joel Manning.
Oh,
He's
yes.
going to be here with us tonight. And this beautiful indigenous sport of road tennis, adding his years of experience as a broadcaster. And this young Kezia Blunt continues to be a very consistent player, John.
Yes, she does. And again, she's a thinker. It's good to see how she's able to use that bounce serve. Caught her opponent napping to some degree.
Utilizing the entire court, stretching Estefine far and wide. Some good exchanges. Ball is adjudged as being in.
Yes, that was an excellent rally, entertainment for the crowd here. Truly appreciating the efforts there in that particular rally. In the end, we had Blunt stealing the point.
And it's interesting, John, I'm not sure if you observed, but we have a new coach, so to speak, in Kezia's corner. Seems to be a controversial call now being sorted. So it's 11 serving to 14. If you've now joined us, in the blue shirt and black pants is Estefine Holder, and in the white shirt is young Kezia Blunt.
How far?
12 serving to 16, a 4-point lead from the young Kezia Blunt. Now facing the serves, rather a 5-point lead.
Yeah, well, Kezia is really doing well. She's holding on to the lead. Slim lead, but she's leading nonetheless. And this is really good, a good work here so far from young Blunt. She was trailing the first half, and now she's taking the lead in the second half of this first of two best in three.
So it's the round of 16 in the Barbados Road Tennis Open for 2023. And we're in the round of money, the business round, according to Young Manning.
And talking about money, we are sponsored by Digicel, BTMI, and we have to say thanks to Nation News for their support of the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023, making it all possible. The score now 17-14.
And John, I just want your take, though, on the fact that here in the Dighton Power Roach facility, we're actually playing on the middle court, the center court. Usually we will play in what you call the A court to the further right, but somehow they're playing in the middle court. And remember that this is just one of 275 courts across Barbados. The majority of them painted by the Sports Council. And Young Manning taking his notes tonight, sitting among us.
Before I answer you, we must commend that player there by Young Blunt. She got a ball close to the net, and she struck that ball with great force, good power past her opponent. Well done. The score now is 18-15.
Well, that's a good shot. And what I like about that shot, though, John, is that she built it up and then she executed it. I would not be surprised, John, if we're looking at a third game, as long as Estefine can perhaps catch herself in the second game. But Young Blunt is extremely fit, and she will have to play a lot of tennis if there is, in fact, a third game.
Well, you're saying something that I am not seeing at this point. I think that Young Blunt is showing that she's here to advance to the next round. Her effort so far in this game, like I said, she was trailing in the first half. She took the lead in the second half of this game. She continues to maintain the lead, and she just 1 point away from clinching game number one. And I think that is quality of tennis that we are seeing from her this evening. Is going to take a big effort on Holder to push this to game three.
Definitely, she hails from the Road Tennis Elite Academy, and interestingly, tonight she's being coached by Dwayne Lynch.
Well, that's the end of that first game. Obviously, the best of three here for these two ladies. Your thoughts on that game one for both players?
Well, I think both players on this particular first game, they might usually start with a bit of nervous moments, but you saw both players getting more and more settled throughout the game. In the first half, Holder led, and she seemed to have been a comfortable position for the most part, but 10-all at the midway tell you really no advantage at that point. And then in the second half, we saw Kezia Blunt. She went into leading at 14-11. Then she went to 17-13, and she closed out comfortably at 21-15. So I think Young Blunt definitely was in the driver's seat from the second half, and I'm quite sure that should boost her confidence going into game number two.
Well, the start of game number two, the ball in the hand of Estefine Holder, and she starts positively collecting the first point of game number two. Kelvin, what do you think she needs to improve on to capture game number two here and take it into game number three?
Well, she's an experienced player, there's no doubt about that. But somehow Young Blunt is keeping the ball on the blue, and that's extremely, extremely important in road tennis. Somehow you're seeing a bit of fatigue on the face of Estefine Holder, and this young, fit Blunt is planning to wear her down, so she needs to be extremely careful in terms of where she puts the ball and not expending too much of her energy trying to race behind Young Blunt.
It's interesting you mentioned that fitness factor, and for those who are currently watching the stream, obviously there are those who are experienced at watching road tennis, and of course we have a couple newcomers as well to the sport, given how much it's growing here in Barbados and the fact around the world. So good evening to everybody watching in Barbados and around the Caribbean and the world as well. How important is that fitness factor when it comes, because you're seeing a court here that to some would say looks quite small, so how important is that fitness factor in determining your success in this type of a sport?
Well, I would say somewhat like any other sport, it's very, very important. Here's the thing, Manning, you can have all the shots in the world, but if you're not fit enough to execute those shots at the time that you need to execute them, then you're going to hit the ball either out, short, or away, and you'll be losing points continuously. So fitness is extremely, extremely important in actually executing the shot and keeping the ball on the blue.
Well, the experience showing so far in the early exchange of game number 2 for Holder. And, well, it's now 2-4. 2 serving for the ball in the hand of Young Blunt. Certainly a lovely atmosphere still building here in Bush Hall, St. Michael, Barbados. And it's now 3 serving 4. So pulling things back quite nicely here is Blunt. Oh my goodness. This is what you call the youth on show at the moment here. Now tying up at 4 all at the moment. Starting some fantastic tennis once again here in game number 2, John Wick.
Yeah, that was a very good play on that occasion by Young Blunt. It goes to show how she's thinking, and she plays that ball to perfection. We call it a touch of class from the young player, and well done on that occasion. Even score, a good rally here going at this point. You will have her serving at 3 serving to 6. I'm quite sure that Holder has her hands quite full here this evening with the quality play that this young lady is delivering.
And no service change. It will be 7 serving 3 at the moment. So things going, I guess, how you would hope if you're supporting Estefine Holder at the moment. Losing that first game 21-15, now up 7-3 at the moment versus Kezia Blunt. Just a quick look back at how things went in the round of 32 for these two ladies. Kezia Blunt, well, she took it in 2 straight games, 21-18 and 21-16 versus Samantha Rogers. And Estefine Holder, she beat Sharon Small 21-12 and 21-14 to advance to this round of 16. You could probably see them just toweling off at the moment, and that's because it might be night, but things are quite hot here. And heating up again will be that action as the ball is in the hand of Estefine Holder. 7 serving 3. And now 8 serving 3. Certainly this will definitely help to boost the confidence of Estefine Holder at the moment here, John Wick.
Yes, I'm quite sure that this lead that she has at this point really will signal something to fight for, give her some level of encouragement. Not sure what happened on that occasion. We'll hear what the officials think about that particular point. 8 will now serve to 4.
It's quite interesting across all sports. They say play to the whistle, play to the call. And it just appeared as if Estefine Holder was a little thrown off there by the action of Kezia Blunt, who some thought might have been a little, I guess, lackadaisical in getting to the ball. But ultimately it worked in her favor as that point went to young Kezia Blunt. Not too happy at the moment, Estefine Holder, with that call, but still leading at the moment. And I guess it's a case of having to put that one away and having to go again.
Yes, and it's important that she puts that behind her quickly. She has a lead, and she needs to hold that lead if she's going to push this into game number 3.
It looks like a bit of a conversation going on at the moment. Might still be discussing that last play for those who are currently watching on the stream. I guess they saw the action of Kezia Blunt and how she attempted to go at that ball. In fact, Estefine Holder probably thought that it was the end of the play at that moment, and why she's probably just a little flustered, a little frustrated at the moment. Something that we actually saw also in game 1 as it came down to Kim Holder, not necessarily being quite happy with 1 or 2 of the calls, but I guess being the senior statesmen, stateswomen, you know, being a lot more experienced, it might be just a tad easier for them to just put it to the back of their mind and go again.
That's correct, but we have a Holder who's really challenged by a young junior here who's playing some really good tennis. Every point matters.
Certainly every point matters as we're into what is the rounds that matter. There's simply no coming back if you lose here tonight. 9 serving 4 is the score here. And 10 serving 4. A bit of an exclamation coming from the crowd as well. Some support here on hand for Estefine Holder. She's brought them down to Bush Hall tonight, and she's going to need that support. She's going to need all the experience that she has if she's going to collect game number 2 here. If we were to use horse racing terms, she's certainly bolted out of the gates here in game number 2. A service change here now at 5 serving 10. That last point going to Kezia Blunt. And it's at this stage that she's going to have to rally back. 6 serving 10. It's interesting in these middle phases of the game, especially as it relates to concentration and how important it is. Kezia Blunt here just pulling things back. Can she even them up by the end of her service? I guess we're about to see. Well, fantastic rally.
Yeah, that was a very good exchange by both players on that occasion. Fighting all the way, holding knowing the importance of that particular point, and she stuck with the rally, and she was able to take the weight off that last shot, and he was able to deceive her opponent on that occasion. Well done to Holder.
7 serving 12 at the moment. And service change now at 12 serving 8. You would certainly say the game is in balance at the moment. Anything can tip it in the favor of Holder, and anything can even it out for young Blunt. And it's just little errors like that, I guess you would call them unforced errors, especially in receiving of the service, that you might want to just clamp down on, lessen down on.
Well, we are seeing a Holder who is very determined to push this into game number 3. She's mixing her serves really well. She's staying with the points, and she's using all of her experience here to make sure the game 3 happens. So we must say kudos to Holder so far. A score now 14 serving to 8.
Looking slightly frustrated here in this game 2 is Kezia Blunt. That first game looked cool, looked calm, looked collected, but now just, I guess, a couple mistakes creeping in, and obviously not being as experienced as Estrafine Holder. What might be going through her mind here at the moment, John Wick?
Well, I think that she'd be questioning her shot selection. I would think that you've seen a couple of shots that she knew she could have done better with, and on the she's probably reflecting, but a good player over time figures it out sooner than later, and I'm quite sure that she has what it takes to correct it, and she has her coach as well. So you just have to monitor and see how she finds the solution at this point.
And she's definitely clawing her way back into this one. 10 serving 15.
Yes, those last 2 points will certainly give her a confidence boost to some degree. She's now serving at 10 to 15. She has 5 serves, and her focus really should be looking to get 4, no less than 4 in her serves.
Oh, well, no less than 4, which means that the next 4 must go to her in this one. She is going to keep herself in that encounter. Of course, for those watching, you know that the games go to 21. And at the moment, 17 serving 10. Somebody from the crowd is asking her to switch to serve at the moment. For those watching, what does that mean?
Well, I believe the person is suggesting rather serving to one area, move it to the back arm or move it to the forearm so that the opponent gets some level of variation in the play. That was a good move on her on the occasion. Sharp ball to the net, easy put away, and she did well on that occasion.
Well, the word for her must be composure. She must keep composed here. She's going to keep herself in this game number 2. Obviously, no player wants to go to game number 3, especially from a fitness aspect. You want to get it done in 2 games. But hey, we're here for some good competition. We're here to see fantastic road tennis. So hey, I would love to see a game number 3 here. 17 serving 13 at the moment. And I'm just watching the walk off towards that towel of Estrafine Holder at the moment. Sweat dripping. Game 2 seems to be taking a lot out of her at the moment.
Yes, of course. It's rather hot, the conditions here, and it's only understandable that both players, especially Estrafine, at her ever so young age, she will definitely feel a bit more than a teenager. She's scoring out 17 serving to 13. I'm quite sure that Estrafine will want to close on this serve once possible.
Certainly a chance to put away game 2 for Estrafine Holder, and that point will certainly help it now. 18 serving 13. Just 3 points required for her now to keep game number 2 in this Barbados Road Tennis Open, match number 2 of the round of 16. Another lovely build up here. And out is the call to the delight of Estefine Holder. Just 2 points required for her now to take game number 2.
Yes, good work here by Estefine. She's definitely tapping in on all of her experience and is paying dividends for her at 19, now serving to 13.
She's looking down at the line, probably telling herself that one might have been out. The call is in. That point going to Young Blunt. 19 serving 14. Now a chance for game point here for Estefine Holder. Can she put it away on her service? 20 serving 14 at the moment. Game number 2, match number 2 of the round of 16. And she wasn't ready there. I heard a couple words from the crowd saying, "Finish strong, Kezia." And there it is, game number 2 in favor of Estefine Holder. That ties things up now in match number 2. The first one went 21-15. Game number 2, 21-14. Ladies and gentlemen, we're off to game number 3.
That's right. Buckle up your seatbelts. Get ready for game number 3. Good work here by Estefine Holder, using all of her experience in game number 2. She started with a 4-1 lead at the first serve, and she continued to show her strength in game number 2, and she led from the beginning all the way to the end. This was very good tennis here by Estefine and pushing this into game number 3. Kudos to her on a job well done.
Alongside me, Kelvin is saying, "Hey, I called it." He's delighted in terms of what he saw in that game. What impressed you about Estefine in round number 2, in game number 2?
Well, as I mentioned before, Estefine has the experience. And even though young Kezia Blunt is extremely fit, she's playing very well, she's consistent. An experienced player will seek the weaknesses in the opponent and exploit those weaknesses, and that is exactly what Estefine did in that particular game.
Well, we're off to game number 3. Both of these competitors won in 2 games in the round of 32, having to stretch themselves just a bit more. And once again, that fitness factor will come into play. That mental factor will come into play as well, gentlemen, as we are about to get started here now for game number 3. I'm going to put both of you on the spot, gentlemen. How do you see this one going?
Well, I see this one going... I can't call a winner, to be quite honest. I really won't want to. What we must say to those viewers, that in game number 3, the players will switch ends at 10. The game will switch at 10, the 10th point in the 3rd game in road tennis. You'll have a switch, and that would pretty much put Estefine back on the side of the court that she really performed really well. But let's see if she can use that to her advantage some form or fashion in game number 3. But I'm unable to call a winner at this point.
Well, you're unable to call the winner, but I'm able to call the first point. The first point goes to Estefine Holder here in this all-important, decisive game number 3. Once again, good night to everybody that's watching this Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. The action has certainly been fantastic. All around the island, as was mentioned before, we're on one of 275 road tennis courts across the island, John Wick. How many of those courts have you played on?
Oh, not that many at all, but I've played on some of the more recognized courts. I've been to places like Tennis Town, where I had a good game against my good fellow commentator in Bruce Willis. It was a very good exchange in Tennis Town. I touched a bit of sauna. I'm a player in Charleston. Me say good evening to all the Charleston crew. Locked on, taking in all this action. Even scored 2-all. Joel is really close.
Yeah, certainly. This is what you expect to happen here in game number 3 with everything on the line, and that one was over the line. Their service change, 2 serving 3 here. Holder serving to Blunt. Holder in the blue, Blunt in the white. Who will come out victorious tonight? Ties things up here at 3 apiece.
And young Blunt getting some advice on the side. The thing about road tennis, Joel, is that you will always find some level of advice by the sideliners. Everyone knows and our experts. And that's the beauty of this lovely indigenous sport of road tennis. There's always a positive or some kind of comment on the side.
It's true, and I guess you can say that about all sports across Barbados, especially where there's a tree somewhere. You can find somebody under it casting instructions, giving advice. Not every time you want to listen to that advice, though, but certainly some good advice coming from the crowd here today that continues to build the facility here, the Dighton Power Roach facility in Bush Hall, St. Michael. And we certainly expect a lot more to come out as well as we get towards the men's games in this round of 16 as the crowd exclaims 6-3.
6-0 serving to 3. Well done there by Blunt on that occasion. She's certainly showing that she has what it takes to keep the ball in play and is giving her opponent that extra ball that she was able to benefit on that occasion. Well done to Blunt.
Yeah, certainly.
3-0 will serve to 6.
It's a long game, but one that you certainly want to start well. Service change now at 6, serving for a bit more advice, making its way towards the ears of a young Kezia Blunt. Taking on some fluids and much needed, trust me. I'd rather do the talking than the walking out there at the moment. It's not just the fact that you're playing for yourself, but you're also playing for those that support you. And there's so much pressure when you come to a scenario like this. When you're practicing, there's nobody around but you and your coach, you and a couple friends. When it comes to the business end of things, when it comes to the matches that matter, it's fantastic to see how players really deal with that pressure.
Yes, and young Blunt is doing really well here this evening. She's now leading at 6 serving to 4. Joe, we have a special good evening to those persons taking in all this action. We have individuals streaming all the way in New York. They follow this road tennis. We say a special good evening to all those persons in New York, in the UK, Canada. We have a big following as well in Canada who takes in this game. I truly hope that they're enjoying what they're seeing. We are only into the second game of the matchup this evening.
Yeah, the second game and the third round of that game, and 8 serving 5 at the moment. The words from the crowd are play tennis, and tennis is ensuing at the moment. Oh my goodness gracious me. The question is, was that in?
I think that one is being a judge out, Joel. A ball that she really should have done a lot better on. She failed to really carry through on her stroke play on that occasion. She went part way in the shot and did not really have the control that was required to get the placement on that particular occasion. There's no 8, no serving to 6.
An important point here before that service change. Who will it go to? Another fabulous exchange of tennis. And it ends in the favor of young Kezia Blunt. That point going towards her. You know, 6 serving to 9.
Yeah, that was well played by Blunt. She picked her spot really well, and her opponent can only watch as that shot went by. Good playing here by Blunt. She's looking for that 10th point for the switch.
That 10th point is in her favor. The players will now switch sides, and it goes towards the side that Kelvin would have mentioned was the favored side for Estrafine, the side in which she won game number 2. She's currently 4 points down at the moment, so some work to pull it back, to level things out and find herself getting towards that winning target of 21. However, though, in her way, the young Kezia Blunt, can she close it out here in game number 3?
Well, young Blunt has a 4-point lead I'm quite sure that she should feel some level of confidence and comfort with that lead, but it's not over until it's over. I'm quite sure that Holder would have other intentions here. Serving, she had 4 serves to see what she can do at this point to close that gap.
Well, the first point of the exchange goes to Blunt.
6 now serving to 11 as the crowd continues to build here at the Dayton Power Road facility. We're well into a couple of hundred spectators taking in the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. The score of now 7 serving to 11.
They're just a bit hard on that shot there, that one going long from Blunt. 8 serving 11. Both players just looking slightly winded at the moment. Who will have what it takes to close out game number 3? That favors side for Estefine. Holder produces another point for her. 9 serving 11, and service change at the moment.
But Estefine is doing well on this occasion. She's now down to a differential of just 2 points. She's back at that end that paid her some good dividends on points in game number 2. I'm quite sure that she should definitely be feeling that she's very much in this run at this point.
Yeah, certainly a very important next couple of serves on hand for Blunt. Can she drive herself through this middle phase and collect a couple points just like that one, which takes her now to 12?
This is good work here by Estefine. She took the weight off of that last ball. It wasn't coming at the full pace, and she was able to force her opponent into a false shot. So well done to Estefine on that last occasion.
It didn't help herself on that occasion, though. It would have been an error. And she's just looking down at that racket, questioning how it was that she was not able to return that particular ball. And collects that one. 13 serving 11. So once again, just 2 points down is Holder. Can she collect this one? And questioning that call there is Estefine. Holder. She's wondering if to appeal.
$11 now will serve to 14. A bit controversial at this point in time, Joel. The pressure is on. We even seen the pressure in the umpire's chair or the officiating. What's happening? What are your thoughts?
And each player only gets 2 appeals per game. 3, in fact, per game. Estefine using 1 unsuccessfully there on that occasion. And this is where I guess you're able to separate players in terms of class levels, because sure, that call is against her, but she's still in the game at the moment. Can she pull herself into this one? Can she mentally drag herself back from that particular moment? What she's able to do, though, is drag 1 point in her favor, bring it back to within 2.
12 now serving to 14. Holder giving it her all this evening. But she's up against a young Blunt, the daughter of Madeline Blunt. Her mom, for those viewing, we have Madeline Blunt, the mother of Kezia Blunt, and her mom is in the rung of 16 as well. So we have the Blunts doing really well in the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023.
And now she's pulled it back to within 1 with 1 serve left for her. A crucial moment in this game that now hangs in the balance.
I see a smile on the face of Kelvin Bruce Willis Scott, who called the second game.
Another display of fantastic tennis. And it ends with a point for Kezia Blunt. 16-14. She fell to her knees after that one. Just a bit winded. But she's going to have to find something to get herself to 21. And so will Estrafine Holder. Standing room only here now at Bush Hall. But trust me, nobody wants to be sitting with action like this. A small pump of the fist as she gets one step closer to closing out this one.
Yeah, that's very well done on that occasion by Blunt, showing good composure, remaining steady to her task, and she's certainly amassing the necessary points. Now she's just 3 points away from closing this game out, serving at 18-14.
Yeah, some would say there's a word in her favor at the moment. I was going to say momentum, but in fact it was broken. And now 18 serving 15. What can Estrafine pull from within that bag? She pulls out a point. And now 18 serving 16. The final service for Blunt.
I'm quite sure that Estrafine would want a score line of a 17-18 rather than a 19-16 or 16-19.
Cheers and cries go up to the left of us in support of Kezia Blunt. They know that they're now 2 points away from Kezia, making her way towards the quarterfinals of this Barbados Road Tennis Open. However, though, there's still a matter of the experience. Estrafine Holder in her way, taking on that final bit of advice. Can she put it into play? Can she put it to use and get herself those all-important points to take her up to that 21, the lucky number, the magic number, the only number that matters here tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes, and Estrafine will be serving at 16-19. She has 5 serves that she's going to close positively here this evening. She needs all 5.
And that one is out, and just now 1 point needed for the 13-year-old Kezia Blunt to win this round of 16 game. That one is long and it delays what Blunt is hoping for.
And again, a very good crowd on hand here at Bush Hall, taking in the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. And young Kezia Blunt on a job. Kudos to her and congratulations to young Blunt on a job well done.
Certainly a job well done. Taking that game number 3, 21-17. Look back at how things went. Blunt took game number 1, 21-15. Holder took the next game 21-14. This final game closed out at 21-17. Certainly 3 fantastic games in this match number 2. How do you sum up that last one? It was a case of fatigue. It was a case of a couple errors. How do you see that one?
Well, that third game had a bit of fatigue, but what we really saw is the numbers speaking for us. And we had a young Kezia Blunt taking the lead from inception. No, sorry, yeah, she took the lead from the midway at 9-11-9 serving, and she held that lead all the way to the end. We saw Estrafine Holder putting up the very best fight she can and trying to close the gaps, but it was not good enough. And the young Blunt was able to keep her nose in front, and well done to Blunt, getting home in the end at 21-17.
Yeah, certainly it was a fight, but as you mentioned, just wasn't enough in the end. Kelvin, coming over to you, just talk about that game number 3. I know that overall you must be satisfied with the tennis that you saw on display tonight.
Yes, it was a very good game of tennis, and as John mentioned earlier, it was experience versus youth in that particular situation. Yes, I called the third game, but I also called the possibility that Young Blunt would perhaps edge home because of her fitness, and so said, so done. But all in all, it was good, entertaining tennis. We're live in the Dighton Power Roach facility in Bush Hall, Barbados, and we're in the round of 16 in the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023.
Well, gentlemen, we're making our way towards what will now be game number 3. 2 players warming up on the court at the moment. Once again, good night to everybody taking in the action here in the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. Another fantastic year of road tennis action. Another year where we get to see the names that we know, those household names in tennis. But then we see a couple names also coming to the fore. A couple youngsters. And 13-year-old Kezia Blunt is one of them. A name certainly for the future.
So on the court for game number 3 in tonight's action, wearing the black shirt and white pants, is Rashida Holder, and she hails from the Belfield camp. And in the black shirt and blue pants, the experienced Sheldon Waldron. And for those of you joining us each game, the 2 players about to play will get 5 minutes warm up, and now we're going over for an interview of Kim Holder.
I'm here now with the number 1 seeded road tennis women's player in Barbados, Kim Holder. Kim, you had a chance to catch your breath. How are you feeling about how things went for you in the round of 16?
Well, actually, when I started, it was a little... No, I came with confidence. I got my plans. I know I expect to go far. I expect to win the championship once again. But I'm a little on the downside, because right now my spouse is actually in the hospital and he's fighting cancer right now. And actually he went a long way with me from the beginning to the end. And it's like hard. Wrong last year, wrong this time. It was, I was doing it for my mom, and now I'm here trying to do it for him. Because he's actually here with me right now. He wasn't there with me last year, but he was there with me in spirit. And it's all because he said he was home cheering for me as loud as he could, but right now he's in hospital and he's just fighting for his life. He's actually fighting cancer right now, so it's like still a hardship for me right now.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because obviously it's a very mental game out there. How challenging is it for you, I guess, with everything going on around you, to stay focused on the tennis?
Well, actually I train real hard. As you can see in my moments, like from the score when I had her like 8-2, I already set myself a goal and a plan what I wanted to do this year. But from 8-2, and then I lost concentration, and she came back like 8-7. I said, whoa. So I had to regain my focus again and try to concentrate and just play it out.
Yeah, in terms now of how the games went for you, because you closed it out in 2 games. Obviously every player wants to be able to do that. Nobody wants to be out there running around in game number 3. So Kim, overall, how happy are you with your performance here tonight?
I know I can do better, and I expect a great lot of things from me this year. I feel a little more confident, and my fitness level is not 100%, but it's way better than last year. But I feel I do better. I say we do great this year.
Well, Kim, congrats to you. You're on to the next round, and all the best for that one.
Thank you very much.
It's Sheldon Waldron. And on the B side of the court to my right.
So we are about to start the 3rd game in tonight's proceeding. And Rashida Holder won the toss, and she opted for Sheldon Waldron to serve. It's a 2 best in 3. And for those of you now joining us, you may not know this, but each game is played with a new ball. And joining me now is no other than Jewel Manning. And as mentioned before, my name is Kelvin Bruce Willis Scott, and we are in the 3rd game. And in the black shirt, the blue pants with that passing shot is no other than Sheldon Waldron, the experienced Sheldon Waldron, and it's now 2 serving to Love. And in the black shirt and white pants is Rashida Holder. 2 now serving to 1. And the Belfield Massive is certainly hailing their own in Rashida Holder. Nice strong shot though from Sheldon Waldron. And Jewel, what you're seeing here is one of the most experienced road tennis players in Barbados in Sheldon Waldron. And facing her, 1 serving to 4 is Rashida Holder, a relatively newcomer to the game. And it's now 1 serving to 5, so it's a very interesting 4-point lead, and now that's a 5-point lead. I can see her eyes opening up wide as that cross-court shot penetrates the form of Rashida. 1 now serving to 6, Joel. One serving to 7. 1 serving to 8, and you're beginning to see the inexperience of Rashida as she approaches the ball. Her body mechanics a bit off in terms of that particular shot. Standing high and hitting the ball into the net, she needs to lower her body a bit, but it's now 8 serving to 2.
It's nice that you mentioned that for those who are currently watching on the stream, because obviously as a viewer you might want to know, what are some of the adjustments that you can make as a player. Obviously, in a game it's hard to make those type of adjustments, but over the course of time, those types of adjustments, I guess, are what you're hoping to see from her as she progresses in her tennis career.
Certainly, it's now 10 serving to 3. A very good point, Joel. Over a period of time, each player begins to recognize, or hopefully recognize, the weakness. Some of them may have a specific coaches that they call and ask, hey, what are my areas of weaknesses? Where can I improve? And definitely work on them incrementally as they become stronger players. And as you may see in the corner of Rashida Holder is Coach Burkett, one of the most experienced road tennis coaches. He presently works with the Sports Council, and he's a very experienced coach. 3 now serving to 12, though. I'm not sure what he would be telling his student Rashida in order to garner some points here tonight. She's way behind. Oh, nice short ball there from Holder. And Waldron had absolutely no answer for that particular shot. But again, Joel, you're seeing experience versus someone now coming on the scene in terms of shot selection, body movement, etc.
I guess the thing about it is that in a scenario like this, I guess is where the coach might want to tell you, stick to what you know. As you say, stick to the basics and play your game. And I think sometimes you find, not just in road tennis, but sports across the board, players kind of getting a little overawed by the opposition. And especially see in a game one, so I probably expect that she might come back a little better in game number 2 once things begin to settle for her, but certainly coming up against I guess you would call it a formidable opponent in the form of Sheldon Waldron. It just could be, I guess, a psychological factor there, a big mental factor for her to start out this game.
It would be. That's a very, very good point, Joel. And what often happens in a game of road tennis, along with some other sports, is that you can find yourself being drawn into the playing style of the opponent. Usually when that happens and you're the weaker player, then you find yourself in even more problems. But that's a very nice shot there from Rashida Holder 13 now, serving to 7, and the gap between the two players is definitely getting a bit closer, and she's called into the corner by Coach Burkett. I wonder what he's telling her, Joel.
If you can do that 10 more times, well, hey, you'll have a fantastic night, is probably what he tells her. But
that's a good guess.
No, she's certainly getting into her work, as they would say at the moment. And it becomes a case of being able to put away mistakes, but certainly not a mistake. There's certainly a fantastic shot on the part of Sheldine Waldron, just finding those corners, especially with that forearm shot.
And it's as though Sheldine was telling her, hey, 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 I'm still in control. Well, that's an ace, Joel. That's an ace. Not a man move. Beautiful serve. Very tricky serve as well. And as we mentioned in the game before, these experienced players usually have a wide cadre of serves that they can call on when they need to. And that's what really separates them from other players.
You know, it's interesting to see the call from the coach just now, because I questioned whether or not Rashida Holder was actually ready for that one. He was just explaining to her, put up your hand, say hold, you know, kind of play the pace of the game that you want to play here instead of allowing your opponent to rush you. Seven serving 18 here in game number 1 of match number 3 of this round of 16. That call in favor of Sheldine Waldron, who is now 19, meaning 2 points away from taking game number 1 here. She's been not made to work too hard, especially with a couple errors coming from Rashida Holder, and now game point for her. And, well, she's been handed that one, you would have to say, off of that service. The first one goes to her, 21-7. You would have to say a relatively comfortable and easy game, number 1 for Sheldine Waldron.
Definitely, Joel, and that is what we call in the parlance of road tennis a sow, when the opponent does not reach the 10 mark where points are concerned. But what I've observed from Rashida, though, is that Rashida started to get a bit nervous as Sheldine pulled away, and that's automatic. That's expected when you're playing someone the likes of Sheldine Waldron. But what Rashida needs to do in the second game, and you mentioned it so well, Joel, is that she just needs to sit down, plays exactly what she knows, keep the ball on the court, and she will be okay.
Well, let's see if she can do that here in game number 2. You mentioned the word "so," and for any person that definitely played road tennis back in the days of secondary school, that was something everybody wanted to do on the courts. It was always bragging rights, make it say you, I saw that man.
And Joel will tell you that when John came up in Tennis Stone, he tried for the entire evening to give me one of those embarrassing scores, but I fought and fought. Yes, he won, but he wasn't able to give me one. And that's a big thing in road tennis. For those of you perhaps not learning the sport, it's one of those games with a lot of bragging rights, and when you usually defeat someone with low numbers, it's something you talk for until the person dies, actually, and sometimes even after. Very beautiful game. Calls for a lot of fitness, though, Joel, this thing called road tennis. You asked that question before, and that really separates the players when it gets on to perhaps the semifinals, etc.
Yeah, certainly need to have some work in those legs to stay low and to keep playing your game. It's now 2-all as just another error on the part of Rashida Holder means that it's now 3 serving 2, and I guess that's going to be a question across this game in number 2. How many of her errors can she limit in this game?
And that's always the important question, because oftentimes some of the errors are really unforced. So sometimes some of these players may have a very easy shot to put away, and they kind of rush it and hit it out, thus gaining the opponent the advantage to claim a lot of points. But Rashida now, to me, is beginning to buckle down, and as you can see, it's 4-7-3, which is a relatively close game at the beginning of the second game, with Sheldine Waldron winning 21-7 in the first game.
Oh, well, in fact, it's 3 serving to 4, the lead in favor of Rashida Holder at the moment. The first time she's led.
Bit of tick for tack here tonight, Joel. So it's 4-0 serving to 5. Sheldon just trailing by 1. 5-all.
The interesting thing looking at the body language of Sheldon Waldron at the moment, yes, we certainly know she's experienced. Yes, we do know that she's the favorite. But you just wonder if she might, I guess as they say in Bajan terms, drop the shoulders a bit. And that's probably the reason why we're seeing a couple more errors from her that she might not want to have tonight.
Yes, definitely. What would happen is that an experienced player would kind of feel out the opponent in the first game, and then they would decide the intensity to apply in the second game, and I'm quite sure that is what happened in that particular first game. And now Sheldon knows exactly how to play to win this particular game and set.
Yeah, certainly not looking to expend too much energy here is Sheldon Waldron. Just looking at that racket, looking at that wrist, because she knows that a shot that she usually gets in her sleep. Pretty much 6 serving 8 at the moment.
I can also tell you, Joel, that Sheldon has been dubbed the smiling assassin over the years, meaning that she's one of those players that will smile, but she will still assassinate the opponent. So she's very cool and calm by nature. That's her personality. But when she needs to step up the intensity, she does that very well.
Well, she steps it up with that forearm shot. Once again, you realize that every time she's been able to go towards that forearm and deliver towards the back arm of Rashida Holder, she's been relatively successful.
Yes, another ace. All Rashida can do with that particular one is to stare at it. And again, you will be seeing the experience of some of these players. They will know, for example, they have 5 serves. You may see an individual serving 4 balls in the back arm, and then when the opponent is expecting the 5th ball, they may very well switch it.
Yeah, certainly tactics come into play as well. And mind games all around to go along with it. And once again, that forearm delivering point for Sheldon Waldron. And now 12 serving 7. So advantage to her, and she'll be hoping that she can wrap this up in 2 games and make her way into those quarterfinals.
But kudos to Rashida for reaching the round of 16 in this 2023 Barbados Road Tennis Open Tournament. For someone relatively new around the game of road tennis. So kudos to her and the Belfield crew, who usually support her heavily.
This can certainly only do her career the world of good to be able to play against players of the caliber of Sheldon Waldron, to be able to be out here and showcasing her skills. And you have to tell yourself that from tournament to tournament, from ball to ball, she certainly will get better.
Certainly she's ranked number 3 based on last year's semifinals, and she's a very strong player. She's won several tournaments over the years, and as we mentioned before, she's just kind of in cruise control now. If you look at the countenance of her face, she looks quite unbothered as she plays this Rashida Holder.
Funny enough, that might actually present the opportunity for Rashida to just draw things back a bit. That ball is called out, and that will certainly make her feel good. 10 serving 13 at the moment. It's just a case of, can she capitalize on the fact that you mentioned, that Sheldon might go into cruise control, might have a mistake or 2 more. Gets that ball back on, keeps it on, and this is fantastic tennis, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, point not in her favor, but all in all, that was certainly a fantastic exchange of tennis.
Yes, Joel, I actually found myself putting the mic aside to clap for that. Very good tennis, some very good exchanges, and indeed a good rally, especially from the relatively inexperienced Rashida Holder. And next to you is a very important man in the game of road tennis, Mr. Frederick Blunt. He's actually the president of the Barbados Road Tennis Association. He's been doing a very, very good job over the years in his tenure. So good night to you, Mr. Blunt. 16 now serving to 11. So just a brief correction, Sheldon Waldron actually came second last year, and she's actually ranked number 2 coming second to Kim Holder, who was recently interviewed by Joel Manning.
And now just 2 points away from the quarterfinal rounds is the number 2 seeded Sheldine Walren.
13-19, so she has escaped the saw, as we call it in road tennis, but she's still trailing Holder. And somehow that ball was spinning backward, and she struck it out. So it's now 13-7-20. Game and set point to Barbados number 2, Sheldine Waldron, and she wins that game. And the set 21-7, 21-13. So what are your thoughts on that game, Joel?
Well, all in all, you have to say that it was a relatively easy, and I put that word in inverted commas, evening for Sheldine Waldron, picking up that game 21-13 and win the first one 21-7. You probably have to tell yourself that her legs weren't too stretched on that occasion, and she might look back at that performance and say, well, there are a couple areas that I certainly want to tighten up on going into quarterfinal rounds, but hey, the job is to get there, and she's done just that.
Definitely. And knowing Sheldine, I can tell you, Joel, that her game is going to be intensifying as the tournament progresses. She's that type of person. She's now having a photo taken from Rivellino, and she's smiling quite beautifully after winning that game over Rashida Holder 21-7, 21-13. And now we're into the 4th game of the night. Asabi Downey and Maudlin Blunt. Over to you, Mr. John Wick.
Yes, indeed. We're on to what is the 4th and final women's match of the night. Match number 4 in this round of 16. As you mentioned, it will be Asabi versus Maudlin. How do you see this one shaping up here, John Wick?
Well, I think we have 2 pretty good players, but we have a Maudlin Blunt who has been performing exceedingly well over the last couple of years in Barbados. She's been having a very good 2023. She was actually voted the most valuable player in the team tournament that we had a bit earlier in the village camp competition. Maudlin Blunt game continues to be just improving. Every time you see her on the court, you're seeing her adding something else to her game. She represents, for the most part, the Elite Academy. She's plays a lot of her tennis at Elite Academy. This evening, she's being coached by Abby Clark. He also represents the Elite Academy. And Asabi Downey has been around tennis for some time as well. She's a professional, well, she was known as a professional footballer. And she's transcended into road tennis and been doing pretty good in road tennis. She's not the most attacking player, but she has the ability to keep the ball in play. Her opponent does the same, but when given the opportunity, Blunt will definitely go for her shots.
Oh, well, she definitely won't be blunt tonight. In fact, if we look back to what was a game number 2, her daughter, Kezia Blunt, she was victorious. So the family will be hoping that they can keep that going here and have smiles for everybody. It'll be interesting at one stage if we could see Kezia Blunt taking on Maudlin Blunt in this Road Tennis Open. But given how things are shaping, I'm not sure we might see that unless both of them make their way towards the final. But certainly another fantastic women's match here shaping up in this Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. Just a couple minutes away now from match number 4, the round of 16 here in Bush Hall.
And Joe, we see the crowds continue to build. And we are not even into the men's events as yet, but we continue to see a growing crowd, numbers building here at Bush Hall. And we had sitting room, now we just basically have standing, Joel.
Yeah, standing room only. And I do believe that when we get to those men's rounds, especially given some of the names that I see on the cards for tonight, nobody will be sitting down here tonight. That coin toss goes off now. And falls in the favor of not too sure at the moment. It looks as if it falls in the favor of Blunt.
Let me also add, Joe Blunt is actually the number 4 seed in this competition. She did really well in 2022 in the competition, making it all the way to the semifinals. And I'm quite sure that she'll be aiming to repeat in 2023 and maybe take it a step further. She's a very hard worker, and let's see if all of her hard work will pay off, at least tonight, and get her ready for whatever the future holds.
Yeah, certainly. Every player wants to be in that final, but to get there, they must win the game in front of them. In front of them at the moment, the round of 16 for these two ladies, still knocking up at the moment, going through the warm-up paces. Not that they need to get very warm, because outside is warm here in Bush Hall, St. Michael. But yeah, fantastic to see the crowds on hand. And I must admit, I am somebody who, yes, I would watch road tennis online, so I am one of those who will watch it via the stream, but I've actually never been physically present at the road tennis competition. So it is wonderful to be here, to be soaking in this atmosphere, and I do know it will only get better as we go through the night, as we head towards those finals at the Wilde Gymnasium.
Yes, a lot is expected of the players coming up, and the quality of tennis will keep going to another level. And I believe that as we get to the next round of the top 8 players, I'm quite sure the crowd will even get much bigger. But road tennis, a sport that has been around since 1930. I mean, a very long time this sport has been played here in Barbados. It's our indigenous sport. And as we continue to see it going from one level to another level, and the road tennis continues to be on the up and up. We are seeing road tennis outside of Barbados. We are seeing the creme of the creme here competing for a big prize, Joel, of $20,000.
Yeah, certainly not pocket change on offer here for the winners of this tournament. It's interesting that you mentioned how it's grown over the years, because it was a case of, for many in days growing up, and I'm not necessarily talking about myself because I'm a lot younger, you know, than many who have truly been playing this sport for years, but it's a case of it was more of a hobby, more of a to pass the time, more of a enjoyable experience for them as we are about to get this game underway. But certainly no longer a hobby, a professional sport, professionals on display here tonight.
Well, Madeline Blunt, she won the serve, and for our viewers, we have Madeline Blunt, and she's in the white top, and her opponent in a Sabi Downey in the black top and black tights. Very pretty tights there by Downey. She looks the part. Like I said, she's a footballer. She has that fit a presence on the court, and let's see if it's going to work for her this evening, Joel.
Well, it's time to get underway. Match number 4. It is Blunt taking on Downey.
Well, we saw Blunt in Silver Hill, and on that particular occasion, Joe, she came to court and she executed as a player with a plan. Let's see if tonight here in this round of 16, looking to go to the round of 8, we'll see a similar Blunt in action.
And it's interesting you mentioned planning, and I guess that's something that's also very crucial as you come into any road tennis match. As a player yourself, what do you think the plans for these ladies are coming into this one? What are they hoping to execute?
Well, a player like Blunt would be believing that she has the ability to keep ball in play. She would have been putting in her work on returning just about anything that comes her way. She's known for playing quite a bit of tennis with the men at the Elite Academy. So coming to this game, I think her preparation will be keeping those balls on court and to some degree the occasional attack. Downey, on the other hand, she's known, again, like I told you before, for keeping the balls on the court steadily. And the women tend to do more of that, Joel. They tend to be persons who keep ball in play and hoping that the other person would actually make the error.
Well, at the moment, we're seeing quite a few balls going out of play. And the first point on the board now for Downey. Just a couple errors to get things started here in game number 1, match number 4 for these two ladies.
Well, speaking to Downey a bit earlier, she's rather nervous at the beginning of the game, understandably so. Even the greatest of greats experience nervous moments, and I think that this may be just her intro to game number 1.
Yeah, certainly must channel those nerves, channel those butterflies, and get things going Because yes, they're playing 3 games, but you certainly do not want to lose game number 1, because then the pressure starts to heat up a bit more. Then you find that the mental aspect of it in terms of the mistakes may or may not happen. 2 serving 8 at the moment. I'm sorry, 8 serving 2. And now 8 is serving 3. There's a little visitor on the court in the form of a bug. Of course, they would want to take in the road tennis action as well. Who wouldn't here in beautiful Barbados?
Of course, even at 29 degrees hot on the outside, is a sport that you really wouldn't want to miss. And to our viewers, it's good to have you taking in the action of the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. Again, we are in the round of 16. And all the action thanks to our sponsors in Digicel, BTMI, and Nation News.
Yeah, it certainly would not be possible without them. We're talking about numbers, and if you're watching the stream, you might want to have yourself a Digicel number after tonight. 4 serving 11.
And Joe, we're seeing some instructions coming on the side, not only from the coach, but we're seeing spectators, as always, getting involved. I'm quite sure she'd be disappointed with that particular shot selection. A ball that she really should have done a lot better with, Joel, on that occasion.
Yeah, she certainly set it up, and it would have been similar to a point that she got recently. You heard the cries from the crowd saying, go towards that backhand. She was going there, but just hit it long on that occasion. Just these little moments, these small moments that begin to kind of define the game. So she's, I guess you would say, found the weakness, found how she can get her points. Now it's just a case of, can she continuously execute it?
Well, at 5 serving to 12, she really need to not only get the shots where she need them to go, but she also need to get past that nervous moment sooner than later. And let's hope that they're just about gone at this stage. And that was a much better exchange there by Downey. Good ball moving. She's actually giving a little military work to her opponent. Left, right approach. And well done by Downey on that occasion.
Yeah, I love the terminology of the military approach. Left, right. I was like, oh, where are you going with this one? Left, right. Oh, we're on parade here tonight. And just another unforced error for Downey. And she simply cannot believe it. There's somebody crying, take your time. And indeed, that's something that she would want to do here tonight. You would almost say that she's giving a few points too many to Blunt at the moment.
Yes, and she's certainly allowing Blunt to remain in the driver's seat at this stage of the game at 13 now serving to 6. Correction, 14 serving to 6.
A nice shot there to take her to 15. Blunt.
Yes, that was well played by Blunt. Placement was excellent. A good delivery, and she got her just reward at 15 now serving to 6. Joel, this is looking like a possible sow. I heard Calvin Bruce Willis explain to you the sow a bit earlier. Maybe, just maybe, it may be in the mind of Blunt at this stage.
Yeah, it certainly would be a confidence factor for her as well if she would be able to complete that. So for those watching and wondering what we might be talking about, it is when the player is able to reach 21 and the others unable to reach double figures, that being 10. A lovely rally in play, and this is certainly what we were hoping for and looking for from these two women. And it ends in the favor of Blunt.
And that was indeed a very good exchange by both players. We have Asabi Downey, her coach of all people, Imar Edwards. He's on show tonight. And we have Blunt being coached by Abby Clark. Good exchange not long ago. But as you rightfully said, Blunt getting the better on that occasion.
3 points away from taking game number 1 now is Madeline Blunt. And no, as that ball is called out, she's now 2 points.
Yes,
away.
Saba now serving to 19. As Sabi looking to paint the lane, already painted on that occasion, that one going wide. And she will now serve at 7, serving to 19. After this ladies match, you will see the first of the many events, Joel. We have coming up the Barbados #1 in Mark Venom Griffith, and he's up against young Dre Rocketman Smith. And that's going to start the men action here at Bush Hall this evening.
I dare say we can start in quite hot here in terms of the men's action. And now service change at 19-11 out of what we called the South. So even just from a psychological perspective, you would have to say that Asabi Dongley would be happy with the fact that she was able to get out of that. No, can she get a couple more points? Even if she's not able to take this game, how deep can she take this one? How tired can she probably make Blunt here in game #1? How hard can she make her work for her points?
Well, I'm not sure about the tired part, but what I will say, I do agree with you as it relates to taking it a little longer, because the longer she stays on court, she'll be addressing those nervous moments, and she will obviously she should feel a lot better going into game #2 if she can get more out of this first game.
The first game point to Maudlin Blunt, 20-11. At the moment, ladies and gentlemen, can she close this one out here now?
Well, Joel, these ladies last meet, we had Blunt taking the victory, and this evening she's taking the very first game here this evening of this 2 best in 3 of the final matchup of the ladies match. She's here to be played at Bush Hall. We're seeing Maudlin Blunt taking game #1 at 21-12.
Yeah, all in all, you would have to say a fantastic game #1 for Maudlin Blunt. The interesting thing, though, is that we saw quite a few errors on the part of both players, and then we just question now, as we head into game #2, which player will be able to reduce the number of errors. And I do believe that if on the side of Asabi Downey, she's able to even cut her mistakes down to half, we'll see a by far closer and a by far more competitive game #2.
Yes, I agree. She should be feeling a lot more comfortable. Like I said, she's one who's known for keeping the ball in play. And we saw coming on to the end of that first game that she started to get her rhythm to some degree. It will take that and a bit more if she's going to push this into game number three for sure. We're into the second of a 2 best in 3.
We're about to get game #2 started. The players have switched sides. Ball in the hand of Asabi Downey, and we're off in game #2 now. Don't forget, this is the final women's game of this round of 16 tonight. And starting to show the signs of aggression that you mentioned there, John, with the fact that when presented with the chance, you probably might see her going on the attack and the affirmative, not working out there for her on that occasion.
Yes, she saw the opportunity, and I'm quite sure that she needs to keep doing that. Certainly, you practice it, Joel, you should bring it to the game. And let's see if she's able to do something special with those attacking shots this evening.
Well, Blunt just asking things to slow down a bit. A couple errors from her to start out the game. 1 going long and then 2 going into the net. In fact, 3 going into the net for her, allowing Downey to get off to the start of 4 serving love now. And service change now at 1 serving 4.
score now 2-4. We have Blunt again for those now joining us. Blunt in the white top. Her opponent in a Sabi Downey in all black. With Blunt winning the first 2 of her serves, and we have a score now of 3-4. Blunt serving that one wide, Joel, is really the kind of thing you really don't want to do in this sport of road tennis. You don't want to serve a ball and give your opponent such an easy point.
Yeah, you always look at your service points as being the most important for you. It's a chance for you to control how things go. Speaking of control, both players looking composed, looking controlled, and fantastic exchanges. And just going long there is Blunt Sabi Downey.
Yes, that was very well served. Ball just beyond the net, and she placed it with a touch of class. Brilliantly done on that occasion by Downey.
Yeah, it's not always about that power, but placement comes into play as well, as both players placing the ball quite nicely here. And as soon as I said that, you would have to say the commentators cursed that one. Going long from a Sabi Downey. And now 7-5.
Yes, but we have seen a much more composed Downey at this stage of the game. And we saw her when in her match in Belfield, she lost the first against Margot Lord, and she was able to come back and win the 2 final games, getting the better of Margot on that occasion. So Downey may be a slow starter, but she picks her game up as the match goes on. 7 now will serve to 6.
Going on the offensive there. Oh, was a Sabi Downey and taking that point for the service change now for 7, serving 8.
Yeah, that was a good power shot there on that occasion. She was able to catch her opponent mid-court. Good power, good selection on that occasion by Downey, and she got her just reward. Well, Joel, we are seeing a Blunt who believes very strongly in keeping the ball in play. And you see how patient she is. She's staying the course as much as possible, just giving her opponent the ball and waiting for something to happen, as she did on that occasion.
And that certainly is what will matter. I mentioned the fact that at the start of this game, it will more than likely come down to who makes the lesser mistakes, the least of the mistakes here in game number 2. Looking just slow things down a bit, catch your breath. Here is a Sabi Downey. This is round of 16 action, and very soon we're going to find ourselves at the Wilde Gymnasium for the quarterfinals, and those go down on the 7th and 8th of October. There's also going to be a door prize of an S23 just for the final. So if you want to have yourself a chance of winning an S23, you can find yourself at the Wilde Gymnasium for the final. But before we get there, as I mentioned, the quarterfinals on the 7th and 8th of October. You certainly don't want to miss those either. You also don't want to miss the next round of 16 action happening tomorrow night as well 8 more wonderful matches of road tennis going to be happening. Whether or not you know anything about road tennis, or whether or not you have a horse in the race, as they say, you can find your way down and take in the action.
Well, Joel 10 will now serve to 11 as we see Downey serving that ball into the net. Much to the appreciation of her opponent in Blunt and her coach. You can hear Abby Clark encouraging her on the side. With every point that she's able to amass, he's celebrating with her.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that just after a couple mistakes, you're now seeing a Sabi Downey, especially on that shot, looking to kind of force that point and losing it on that occasion. I think she just has to go back to how things were for her at the start of this one, keeping it simple, getting the ball back on the court, and waiting for that mistake. Once again, looking to force it. You're seeing the frustration here on the face. Probably just needs to slow things down a bit and get herself back into this one here, does a Sabi Downey.
Yes, she does. She's, of her 5 serves, she's lost all 4 so far. Let's see if Blunt is going to take all 5 of her serves on this occasion. Good rally so far by the players.
Well, she kept composed there, waited on the right moment, and the execution was perfect from Asabi Downey on that occasion. That will give her just a bit more confidence here, especially as this phase is that middle phase where these crucial points are what are on offer. You do not want to allow your opponent to get away, to have to find yourself fighting and clawing your way back into the encounter. 15 serving 11.
Well, what we saw in that Asabi serve is a mini break by Blunt. She did really well, taking 4 out of 5. So this is really good stuff here by Blunt as she's looking to press on and open this lead and get that magic number of 21.
Yeah, press on and head to what we would probably call the promised land. The promised land being the quarterfinals in this Barbados Road Tennis Open. Claps all around for Blunt as she now extends that lead to 6 points, 17 serving 11. She can smell the door of the quarterfinals. Will she be able to open it is the question.
The winner here, Joel, positions themselves to certain guaranteed money. They'll be moving into the round of 8, and in the round of 8, those players in the round of 8 are guaranteed a payday. As you said, it's about business. That was your introduction here with us this evening, and I'm quite sure the winners here this evening, especially the ladies, will be believing that they are certainly in good business.
Oh, indeed, indeed. We all came here for fun, but fun doesn't pay the bills. You want to find yourself walking away with something at the end of the night. So yes, indeed, as you mentioned, the money, the dollar signs start to tick in from the quarterfinal rounds. And that's why you see the focus on the face of these players, because they know that with shots like those, they can find themselves in the quarterfinal.
Now, Joel, that play in itself speaks to the quality of Blunt. She's just defended well, she attacked well, she timed well, and I'm quite sure that her coach will be pleased, Joel, with that exchange and the way she was able to take that particular point. Yeah, and she's now in the driver's seat.
Yeah, sorry, the coach was pleased, the crowd was pleased, as well as she's now 2 points away from that guaranteed prize money, the quarterfinals. And now just 1 point away. She can feel the door handle at the moment. And the door is now opened for Madeline Blunt. She's found her way into the quarterfinals, winning that one 21-13. So she took the first set at 21-12, no, 21-13. And she definitely will be the happier of the two walking off the court at the moment tonight.
Yes, a very good effort there. Well done by Blunt. She's the number 4 seed, Joel, in this competition, and she displayed tonight why she's the number 4. She's knocking on the door. She's looking for that big prize money of $20,000, and I'm quite sure that she'll be pleased with her performance this evening, and going forward, believe that she has every chance of getting her hand on that $20,000 prize.
Well, you would have to say, like a mother, like daughter here, tonight. Both blunts putting in fantastic performances to find their way into the quarterfinals tonight. Once again, good night to everybody that's viewing on the stream, whether here in Barbados, across the Caribbean, or around the world. Thank you for joining us here for the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. The round of 16 at the moment. And the crowd is buzzing. The reason being, we're heading in now to the men, John Wick.
Yes, we are. We are now getting ready for the start of the men event this evening. Well done by the ladies. They have booked their pass, but now we are now about to see which of these men will move on to the round, the quarterfinal round. And at this point, I'm going to bring back my co-commentator in Kelvin Bruce Willis Scott as he joins you to take this very first event. Mark Venom Griffith up against Dre Rocketman Smith. Kelvin.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Joel, for carrying that previous game with Asabi Doni and Maudlin Blunt. And for those of you now joining us, Maudlin Blunt won 21-12, 21-13, and now we're over to the men. And in the all red, standing at 5'11", is the 17-year-old Dre, the Rocketman Smith. And in blue, bouncing around effortlessly, is no other than Barbados and the world number 1, Mark Venom Griffith. And joining me is Mr. Joel Manning. He's here with us tonight, doing a fantastic job. Joel, what are your thoughts? Is it David versus Goliath here?
My thoughts are I'm excited, and I definitely know everybody here at Bush Hall is excited. Everybody watching the stream is excited as well because they know that it's going to be a show, it's going to be a display. You mentioned David versus Goliath, and I guess if you go based on stats, that is how things are stacking up, that is how they're shaping up. But funny enough, we do know about that story is that David was the one to conquer Goliath, and the question is, can that be done here tonight? I saw you had a brief word and conversation with Dre Smith there before things got started. What was that? Was that a word of encouragement? Was that, hey Dre, you've got this here tonight? What was that?
That was a conversation between myself and a young friend. There's a history between John, Dre Rocketman Smith, and myself. We like the youngster. He's full of talk. He's one of those confident young men that if you had to put Djokovic in front of him on a lawn tennis, he would say that he would beat him. He's full of confidence. And I was just asking him, Joel, how he feels about this particular game. He's confident. He's confident after winning on these same grounds against Terry Smith. And he has some high hopes against the world's number 1, Mark Venom Griffith. And as you can see, a passing shot, but it's just the practice session right now as each player is awarded 5 points to warm up, 5 minutes rather, to warm up. But I'm telling you, Joel, this man is enthusiastic. He's a character in himself. And any passing shots that he hit past Mark Venom Griffith, you are going to hear the 200 or 300 people in here tonight keeping some noise because Dre Rocket Smith, man, is the man when it comes to that special character in road tennis.
The thing about it is that every sport needs its characters because that is what grows the sport, and two, that is what a fan really loves to see. Yes, it's all about results for the players out there, but in terms of viewership, in terms of a display, in terms of a competition, in terms of a spectacle, we definitely are looking forward to what we see tonight. And you mentioned the fact that this is just the warm-ups, but trust me, the pot is sizzling. Things are bubbling here, even in just the warm-ups at the moment.
And let me tell you, Joel, you're absolutely correct. This young man, Dre Rocketman Smith, he's also a promoter, by the way. He's also a road tennis promoter. He held a couple of tournaments in Charleston, and that's where he plays the majority of his tennis. And of course, Mark Venom Griffith, he hails from the Sauna Camp in Bank Hall, the only indoor road tennis facility in Barbados. And of course, I want to say a special good night to the man on my right, Adrian Donovan. I knew him for many years due to football, but he's here in road tennis, a man who has done yeoman service in all areas of sport across Barbados. He must be mentioned, Adrian Donovan.
Must be mentioned indeed. I too have had my encounters with Mr. Donovan going through the sports council camp. Still looking as young and fresh as ever is Donovan. Always a very sprightly character, regardless of what sport you encounter him in. I wonder who's his favorite here for tonight. I won't ask him that. I'll let him keep that one in his head. Donovan, do you want to humor me and let me know who you think might be your favorite for this one?
It is going to be a very entertaining affair. The question at the mouths of all the spectators, will Dre the Rocket Man avoid the South?
Okay, well, an interesting question put forward to our viewers there tonight. And, well, all in all, we do know that we're in for a contest across these 4 men's matches that will play here in this round of 16 as we make our way towards the quarterfinals, which will be happening at the Wilde Gymnasium on the 7th and 8th of October. I do believe that the coin has been flipped. We might soon be getting ready for this first round of 16 men's match. It will be Mark Venom Griffith taking on Dre the Rocket Man Smith.
Yes, Joel, and a large crowd here in the Dayton Parrot facility in Bushall St. Michael. And as you can see, the crowd is getting closer. They're not going to miss this action. You mentioned before this standing room only, but you also mentioned that in these very exciting games of tennis, who would want to be sitting? And of course, as we mentioned before, dressed in all red is Dre Rocketman Smith, and in the blue is no other than Mark Venom Griffith. And we are about to start, Joel. Call it.
Well, the first point of the night goes towards Mark Venom Griffith, and add one more to him. How much do you think that Dre must also still keep, I guess, his adrenaline under wraps to ensure that he doesn't find himself making too many mistakes too early?
Well, here is the challenge that Dre will have. Dre is playing arguably against one of the best defenders the sport has ever seen. And this is the sport we're talking about from 1935 or so. He's arguably one of the best defenders. He's extremely strong on both sides, the forearm and the back arm. And what Dre really needs to do is to keep the ball on the blue as much as possible. And any opening he gets, Joel, penetrate that with a tough, hard shot. But I'll tell you, he's climbing an uphill battle tonight here against Mark Venom Griffith.
Well, it's been interesting to see with each point that small clench of the fist from Dre Smith. 3 serving 4 at the moment. Make that now 4 all.
And you see that Dre is taking a walk away from the court, composing himself, trying to figure out what is going wrong. And he's making some very juvenile mistakes in attacking the serve. That is something that you never do in road tennis. You always try to qualify the serve.
Yeah, it just might be a case of just need to slow things down just a bit.
It's now 4 serving to 8, and I can hear some of the youngsters around Rocket Man's age just shouting and telling him, Rocket Man, take your time. There's no need to be in a hurry. And apparently this rocket is not taking off tonight. Oh, the balls are coming back, Joel. I told you. I told you. And he looks on in astonishment. But he's playing the best defender this game of road tennis has ever seen. He's appealing. And the point is going to be awarded to him. So he wins that appeal. So it's 10 now serving to 5. This is the first of the men's game for the night, Joel. And what a passing shot. Yes, he's deemed as a defender, but when Mark Venom Griffith has to, he will attack, as you see in that particular shot. (12 serving 5), and the crowd here in Bush Hall is shouting to sow him. 12 now serving to 6.
I'm just looking across at the coach's corner. You can just see the coach telling him, relax. Put those points out of your mind, because with everyone, he's looking back towards that line and that call that he thought should have gone in his favor. Oh, this is brilliant tennis. This is a brilliant tennis from the young man. Oh my goodness gracious me.
I told you, Joel, he's going to at least get one shot, and he's going to parade as though it's going to give him 11 points. That's the type of player he is. Very, very energetic, this young Dre Smith. But it was a good shot. And he does it again. They say lightning doesn't strike at the same place twice, but we are seeing it here. What a beautiful shot, passing through the back arm of the world's best defender, Mark Griffith.
Well, you call that one a double delight, but funny enough, the coach is telling him, settle in again. Settle in again. Calm yourself. Reposition and go 10 serving 12.
And I will go as far, Joel, as to say that Dre Smith is arguably the most confident man in road tennis.
Well, the coach just replied, game open. And now they're questioning that point. Just needs to keep the emotions in check here at the moment. Coach reminding him that the line must be called play until it's called, and I think that's the most important thing about road tennis as well. Yes, some calls will not go in your favor, but it is important to play until that call is made.
And especially, Joel, when the ball falls by your feet, which is the back line of the opponent, you may not be in a position to see it properly. So the advice would be to continue playing until the point is finished. Simple. And now it is quite clear that he's frustrated. The countenance of his face suggests he's upset, and his coach is telling him, just play the tennis. He's being coached by Francisco Lewis, who hails from the Road Tennis Elite Academy.
He's just reminding him, play tennis, and that's exactly what he needs to do, and that's exactly what all of us have come here for tonight. Well, not really to play tennis, because we've come to watch. But certainly this is a fantastic stuff here. And just match number one in terms of the men tonight. 3 more to go. Getting it back on. But that is the venom that we're talking about. And he's questioning whether or not it is out. Shaking his head is Dre.
So he's 16 serving to 13. That particular point awarded to Mark Venom Griffith. And it's quite clear that Dre Smith now is losing all composure to arguing over points, and that can really take away from anyone's ability.
What we are seeing, though, is the fact he's still keeping himself in this contest. 13 points for him at the moment. Some were wondering whether or not it might be a solve for him coming into this one. He's been able to show, no, it's not. He's also been able to show that he can win points. And the question is, how many more can he get here for himself tonight? How hard can he make Mark work? Can he even cause an upset is the question, as that shot is something worthy of an upset in the making. Oh, my dearie my.
Well, that's a very beautiful shot from the young man, Dre Smith. And he can actually play. He's playing some good A-class tennis, but he just needs to buckle down and focus, and he would do much better. Mark Griffith definitely showing that he himself has some attacking shots as well. And,
just forcing it. The question on the side of the court is why.
Weight off. Very, very good strategy against a player who's standing perhaps 2 feet away from the governor's line.
One point away from taking game one now is Mark Venom Griffith. And that will be it. Game number one to him. He wins it 21-15.
And this 17-year-old Dre Rocketman Smith, he's presently studying law at the University of West Indies. And Mark Venom Griffith, who hails as the only professional road tennis player in the world. That's all he does. And he dedicates a lot of his training time in the sauna and bank hall. And there you have it, 21-15. Your thoughts, Joel?
It's interesting you asked me. My thoughts are coming for yours. In fact, we know what Mark Venom Griffith can do and what people expect him to do and what he has done. But looking at the fact that Dre has not been necessarily outclassed in that round, what did you like from him there?
I like the consistency. I like the fact that he's up to the challenge ahead of him. Ooh, the ball just hitting his foot and remaining in the court. 2-serving love. And I'll tell you this, Joel, I know Mark Venom Griffith quite well. He's going to intensify his efforts in this game to perhaps leave Dre Smith at a much lower score in this second game, I'm telling you.
Well, he was able to get 15 in game number 1. He's gotten 1 here so far as that service change is now at 1 serving of 4. An exciting talent on display.
One serving to 5, and remember I mentioned before, Joel, that most experienced players would usually feel out their opponent in the first game, and then they would really unleash all of their experience and talent in the second game, and we're beginning to see this.
Yeah,
as the score now is 1 serving to 7.
Oh,
is it in? That's the question. Yes, it is. 2 serving to 7.
Yeah, it looked good. It is good from the young man, and that will certainly get his confidence going. Oh dear, an unforced error from him on that occasion. 8 is serving 2.
So it's 8 serving to 2 in this second game of the first men's match of the night. If you've now joined us, in the blue with the ball is Mark Venom Griffith, the world's number 1. And playing in the all red is Dre, the Rocket Man Smith.
Well, many now standing in the bleachers just to get a glimpse of this action. Of course, just the first 4 to come here tonight for the men. We had 4 women's games already, 4 exciting women's games, as it's now 10 serving 3, things going momentum towards Mark Griffith.
That's a very good shot. Dre Smith walking forward as though he is taunting Mark Griffith and the crowd here. The Dighton Power Road facility in Bush Hall certainly enjoying that frolic from Dre Smith.
Yeah, he's a character plus more, is this young man.
And that one out. He's certainly disappointed in that shot as he exclaims, "Come on, Dre." And I'll tell you this, Joel, the young man Dre would definitely be a better player if he were to focus a bit more on keeping the ball on the court as opposed to perhaps the showboating style that he plays. 4 now serving to 13, and as I said before, Joel, this game Mark Venom Griffith is about to stamp his authority. That's a nice shot across court, extremely wide away from the back arm of Mark Venom Griffith. But he has many more of those shots to play, Joel, if he's to catch Mark where points are concerned. So it's 5 now serving to 14, a nice comfortable 9-point lead. And now somehow Mark Venom Griffith hitting that ball into the net. Unforced error. We hardly see those type of errors from Mark Griffith, but he's only human.
It's true, only human, even though some might like to think otherwise when they face him, given that not many have been able to defeat him when it comes to this sport of road tennis.
So we're in the round of 16 in the Barbados Road Tennis Open 2023. Very questionable looking ball. Somehow the lines personnel calling it on, so we will respect that call. 17 now serving to 6. Will he get that tickle? Joel, 18-6. Your prediction. I'm putting you on spot.
My prediction, I don't think there really needs to be much of a prediction. I do believe that Mark Venom Griffith will go on to win it. But what I do want to see from the young man, Andre Smith, is that fight. We see the character. I want to see that fight from him, not necessarily giving up or giving in and saying, well, hey, it's a foregone conclusion, because he definitely does have a lot to offer this sport. You mentioned that showmanship and whatnot that he has, and I do believe that's what makes him special to this sport, as it's just 1 point more needed now for Mark Venom Griffith to find his way into the quarterfinals, a place that he's been before, as he's been all the way to the final. The point goes to Mark Venom Griffith, doing it in quite easy fashion here tonight. 2 games for him, taking that one 21-8.
Yes, a very, very good display of tennis from both players, but in the end, Mark Venom Griffith showing why he's the world's #1. Thank you very much, Joel. And now we are over to you alongside my co-commentator, John Wick Chandler.
It was very interesting to see the body language and reactions of Mark Venom Griffith after that one. Obviously coming in as the favorite and doing as expected here tonight, but not getting fussed with the result, just saying, hey, ticking off another box. So why do you think people get so drawn in by the character and the personality in the road tennis that is Mark Venom Griffith?
Well, Mark Venom Griffith has been showing the importance of keeping the ball on the court. Believe it or not, Joel, even though we have attackers who can be entertaining, you have to appreciate his ability to keep that defensive ball back in play. And his ability, backhand, forearm, movement, anticipation is so good. Mark Griffith is able to keep the ball in play, and he's become now a legend to some degree. You heard Calvin said a bit earlier, over the many years this sport has been played, he certainly would be dubbed as one of the most defensive players in the sport of road tennis.
Well, coming up is another men's match, and it will be Emar Edwards taking on Shimon Weeks. 1 of 4 completed in terms of these men's games in the round of 16. What can we probably look forward to in this next roundup between Edwards and Weeks?
Well, Edwards and Weeks is a talk of the town now for weeks. No pun intended. These are 2 players who are known to have really good skill and the ability to keep balls in play.